Welcome to Intergenerational Relationships. My name is Inetta Smith. I have a couple questions to get us started. Did you ever wonder why your grandmother doesn't understand your text messaging? And how about that new boss that just came on board? He's a lot younger than you are. Do you speak the same language? And how about that young lady in Walmart yesterday? She had no patience for the older woman in front of her at the self-checkout line. This is just the beginning of intergenerational relationships. But first, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Inetta Smith, and I am from Florida. My husband and I moved to Michigan in 2007. He was born and raised in Flint, and we came to visit relatives and decided to stay for a while. I've been blessed to be able to continue my education here in Michigan. I now have a bachelor's degree in organizational management from Spring Arbor University. I also have a master's degree in health services administration as well as a graduate certificate in human resource management, both from Central Michigan University. Fire up chips. My husband is a Vietnam veteran, and we enjoy weekend trips and getaways here in the state of Michigan. My son is an Army recruiter and currently living in Southern California with his family. I have two beautiful granddaughters, Miss Tegan, who is 5, and Miss Michaela, who is 3. My husband's son and his family live here in Michigan in Livonia, and we have a beautiful granddaughter named Miss Peyton, who is 4, and we're currently expecting our first grandson in June. We're very excited. My vocation has been marketing and public relations for over 30 years. Most recently, I have been working in long-term care, specifically skilled nursing facilities. I'm in charge of admissions and marketing, and I work with residents, patients, families, doctors, senior centers. So in my personal life as well as my vocational life, I see intergenerational relationships every day. Let's get back to those questions that I asked you. How about your grandmother? Does she understand your text messaging? Does she even have a cell phone? Maybe she texts messages. That's great. How about that new boss? He's a lot younger than you are. Do you speak the same language? Or have you noticed maybe a difference in communication since he came on board? And the young lady at Walmart yesterday, she seemed to be very frustrated with the older woman that just did not understand the self-checkout machine. Well, perhaps that has to do with differences in generations. This course will start with defining the generations and learning about some of the basics, the milestones of the generations, as well as the signposts of the generations. The generations, let's start with them. Traditionalists or traditionals, they're also known as Depression babies. They were born before 1945. Baby boomers, also known as the Woodstock generation, they were born between 1946 and 1964. Generation X is also known as the latchkey kids. They were born between 1965 and 1980. Generation Y, also known as the entitled ones, they were born between 1981 and 1995. The most recent generation is called Linksters. It's also called Generation X in some resources. They are born after 1995. As our society grows and many families no longer live in the same geographic area, intergenerational programs are important to adults as well as young children. Recognizing traits of various generations and how they complement each other is the primary goal of this course. By having this information, personal and vocational relationships will improve. Incorporating this information into your leadership skills will assist you with internal and external business relationships and business negotiations. Learning about the currently defined generations is just one component of this course. The second component will be exploring intergenerational relationships in the non-traditional and traditional classrooms. The third component will be analyzing intergenerational relationships in the workplace. Some vocations, many vocations, have multiple generations working side by side. The fourth component will be evaluating the importance of intergenerational relationships in our society. Our primary textbook is Generations Incorporated, From Boomers to Linksters, Managing the Friction Between Generations at Work, and that is by Megan and Larry Johnson. Each week, students will combine readings from the text with web-based articles and interactive discussions to learn about and recognize the attributes of various generations. Students are expected to find outside articles, videos, TED Talks, post them to Twitter during the week. The beginning 15 minutes of each class will be set aside to discussing each other's contributions. Through role-playing and scratch videos and technology platforms, students will analyze the interactions between generations. Students are encouraged to share personal experiences, your personal interactions with various generations, bringing those scenarios to the table to create new ways to form relationships across generations. As each component builds on the previous, students will analyze and synthesize the information and create their own presentation for the final product. The final product presentation is expected to include technology for cross-generational learning and cross-generational training. As we go through these components together, please feel free to reach out to me with questions or any comments. My contact information is included in the binder. I'm very much looking forward to this course and sharing intergenerational relationships with each of you. Thank you again.